Cinderella.
Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a beautiful and kind-hearted girl named Cinderella. She had a loving family, but her mother passed away when she was very young. Her father, wanting to give her a mother's love, remarried a woman who had 2 daughters of her own. At first, they seemed kind, but after her father also passed away, their true nature was revealed. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were cruel and selfish. They treated her like a servant, making her do all the household chores from dawn until night. She wore old, ragged clothes and slept near the fireplace, which left her covered in cinders. Because of this, people called her Cinderella. And despite her hardships, she remained kind and never lost hope. One day, an exciting announcement came from the royal palace. The king was hosting a grand ball, and all the young ladies of the kingdom were invited. The prince was searching for a bride, and he would choose one among the guests. Cinderella's stepsisters were thrilled and spent days preparing their finest dresses. Cinderella, too, wished to go, but her stepmother laughed cruelly. "You? Go to the ball. Look at yourself. A servant like you could never stand before the prince." To make sure Cinderella couldn't go, her stepmother gave her even more work to do. On the night of the ball, the stepmother and stepsisters left in their elegant gowns, leaving Cinderella alone. Overwhelmed with sadness, she sat in the kitchen and wept. At that moment, a shimmering light appeared, and a kind old woman stood before her. "Why are you crying, my dear?" It was her fairy godmother. Cinderella explained her sorrow, and the fairy godmother smiled gently. "Don't worry, my child. I will send you to the ball." With a wave of her wand, she transformed a pumpkin into a golden carriage, mice into majestic horses, and lizards into loyal footmen. Finally, Cinderella's tattered dress turned into a dazzling blue gown, and sparkling glass slippers appeared on her feet. "But remember," the fairy godmother warned, "the magic will end at midnight. You must return before then." An overjoyed Cinderella rode the golden carriage to the palace. When she arrived, everyone was mesmerized by her beauty. No one recognized her, and the prince was immediately captivated. He approached her, took her hand, and they danced together all night. Time flew by, and before she knew it, the clock began striking midnight. Cinderella gasped and rushed away. As she ran down the palace steps, one of her glass slippers slipped off, but she couldn't stop. She fled before the magic wore off, and once outside the palace gates, she found herself in her old rags once more. The next day, the prince set out to find the mysterious girl who had left behind the glass slipper. He traveled throughout the kingdom, searching for the one whose foot would perfectly fit the shoe. Many ladies tried to squeeze their feet into it, but none succeeded. Finally, the prince arrived at Cinderella's house. The stepsisters desperately tried to fit their feet into the glass slipper, but it was no use. When Cinderella asked if she could try, her stepmother protested, but the prince's servant allowed her to do so. To everyone's astonishment, the slipper fit her perfectly. Cinderella then took out the other glass slipper from her pocket, proving she was the one the prince was looking for. The prince was overjoyed and took Cinderella back to the palace. Soon, they were married in a grand wedding, and Cinderella became a kind and beloved queen. She forgave those who had wronged her and lived happily ever after. Cinderella's kindness and perseverance, even in the face of hardship, led her to happiness. This story teaches us that no matter how difficult life may seem, Staying kind and hopeful will always bring good things in the end.
Did you enjoy today's story? Now it's time to go to Dreamland. See you again next time.